Imagine if you could see a predator hovering directly above your head without ever looking up. Or imagine having a built-in GPS and a solar-powered alarm clock embedded right in your skull. For us humans, that sounds like a character from a Marvel movie. But in the animal kingdom, it's just a Tuesday. Most of us were taught that eyes come in pairs, but evolution occasionally likes to get creative. Today, we're looking at a group of evolutionary overachievers that didn't think two eyes were quite enough. From lizards that can sense the stars to insects with high-speed flight sensors, we are counting down 7 animals that prove 3 eyes are the ultimate biological cheat code. Now, before you start looking for a creature with a giant cyclops-style eye in the middle of its forehead, I should clarify. We aren't talking about science fiction. We're talking about the parietal eye. It's a functional, light-sensitive organ often tucked away on top of the head. It doesn't see high-definition movies, but it sees the world in a way we literally can't imagine. Animal 1, the Tuatara. If there were a president of the Three-Eye Club, it would be the Tuatara. Found only in New Zealand, this creature looks like a lizard, but it's actually the last surviving member of an order that thrived during the age of the dinosaurs. The Tuatara is famous among biologists because it has a remarkably well-developed third eye on the top of its head. This isn't just a sensitive patch of skin. It has a lens, a retina, and even nerve endings that connect to the brain. If you look at a baby Tuatara, you can actually see the eye, a small, translucent spot on its skull. As they grow older, a layer of scales and pigment grows over it, making it invisible to the naked eye, but it's still working. What does it do? It acts as a biological clock. It senses changes in light to regulate the Tuatara's circadian rhythms and helps it absorb vitamin D. It's essentially a built-in solar panel and an alarm clock that never needs batteries. Animal 2, the lamprey. If you aren't familiar with them, imagine a slippery, scaleless eel with a mouth that looks like a high-powered vacuum cleaner lined with concentric circles of razor-sharp teeth. They are, quite frankly, the stuff of nightmares. But beneath that terrifying exterior lies a very sophisticated sensory system. Lampreys are primitive jawless fish, and they haven't changed much in hundreds of millions of years. Because they are so old school, they've held on to some ancient features, including 2 parietal eyes. Yes, technically that brings the count to 4, but in terms of extra eyes on top of the head, they are the champions. These eyes are vital for lampreys because they live in murky water. The third eye helps them detect light from above, allowing them to distinguish between day and night even when they are buried in the mud or attached to the side of a host fish. It's a survival tool for a creature that has survived 4 mass extinctions. Animal 3, the western fence lizard. If you live in the western United States, you've probably seen our third candidate sunning itself on a rock. The western fence lizard, often called the blue belly, is a common sight, but if you look closely at the very top of its head, you'll see a tiny, pale scale. This is its parietal eye. While the Tuatara hides its third eye under thick skin, the fence lizard keeps its sun sensor relatively accessible. For this lizard, the third eye is a high-tech thermometer and compass. It helps the lizard decide exactly how long to stay out in the sun. If it stays out too long, it cooks. Not long enough, and it doesn't have the energy to hunt. The third eye tells the lizard's brain, okay, that's enough UV rays for today. Let's move to the shade. Scientists also believe it helps them navigate by sensing the polarization of light, acting like a built-in GPS for a creature whose home is a specific pile of rocks. Animal 4, the honeybee now. Let's pivot to the world of insects. If you look at a honeybee, you see 2 large, multifaceted compound eyes on the sides of its head. These are great for seeing flowers in movement. But if you were to shrink down and look at the forehead of a bee, you'd see 3 tiny sparkling dots arranged in a triangle. These are called ocelli. Bees use these 3 extra eyes as flight instruments. Think of them like the horizon sensors on a modern jet. The ocelli are incredibly fast at processing light changes. They help the bee maintain stability during flight by constantly tracking where the sky is relative to the ground. Without these 3 little eyes, a bee would have a very hard time staying level, especially on a windy day. So the next time a bee zips past you with incredible precision, remember, it's using a five-eye sensor suite to make sure it doesn't crash into your soda. Animal 5, the bullfrog. Frogs are known for their big, bulging eyes that give them a nearly 360-degree view of the world. But many species, like the American bullfrog, have a secret. Located right between their two main eyes is a small, inconspicuous bump called the frontal organ. This is the frog version of a third eye. It's a leftover from their prehistoric ancestors, and it's surprisingly functional. For a bullfrog, the third eye is a navigation tool. Research suggests that bullfrogs use this organ to sense the polarization of light from the sun and even the stars. This allows them to find their way back to their home pond, even if they've hopped a significant distance away. It's essentially a backup navigation system. If a predator chases them into the tall grass and they lose their bearings, they just check the sky with their forehead eye and head home. It's a lot more reliable than Google Maps in the middle of a swamp. Animal 6, Triops. The award for the most literal name goes to the Triops. The name itself is Greek for three eyes. These are small crustaceans that look like a cross between a horseshoe crab and a tadpole. Triops are often called living fossils because they haven't changed in over 200 million years. They live in temporary pools of water, puddles that appear after a rain and vanish a few weeks later. Because their life is a race against time, they need to be highly efficient. Their two main compound eyes are used for finding food and avoiding predators. But that third eye, the naupliar eye, is used to find light. Why is light so important? Because light usually means the surface of the water, where there is more oxygen and more algae to eat. For a creature that only has a few weeks to grow, mate, and lay eggs before its pond dries up, that third eye is the difference between life and death. Animal 7, the green iguana. Popular as pets and common in the wild across Central and South America, these reptiles are quite large and seemingly chill, but they are also very paranoid about birds of prey. This is where the third eye comes in. On top of an iguana's head, there is a very visible, pale, circular scale. It looks like a large, flat pore, but it's actually a functional parietal eye. While the iguana is busy munching on leaves with its main eyes, the third eye is fixed firmly on the sky. It is specifically tuned to detect shadows and movement from above. If a hawk flies overhead, the third eye senses the change in light and triggers an immediate flight response. The iguana doesn't need to see the hawk to know it's in danger. Its third eye just tells it, something big just blocked the sun, run. Elegant and life-saving piece of biological tech. So why don't we have a third eye? Well, as mammals evolved, our brains changed. We moved toward binocular vision and invested a lot of energy into our two main eyes and a massive visual cortex to process that information. We traded the sky sensor for high definition, 3D processing. But as we've seen today, nature doesn't always take the same path. Whether it's a tuatara regulating its sleep, a bee stabilizing its flight, or an iguana watching for hawks, the third eye is a reminder that there are many ways to see the world. Sometimes looking straight ahead isn't enough. Sometimes you need to keep an eye on the big picture, literally. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of evolutionary spare parts, hit the like button and subscribe for more science-based deep dives. And let us know in the comments, if you could have a third eye anywhere on your body, where would you put it? We'll see you in the next one.